Hey, what's going on, guys? Flick here. Welcome to episode 2 of our FIFA 19 Career Mode Challenge with FC Köln. In episode 1, we tackled season 1, and today we'll look to complete season 2. But before we get into the specifics of that, I do want to thank you all for all the support you showed on episode 1. A lot of you are new to the channel, so welcome, and I hope you are enjoying this style of content. If you haven't already, please do subscribe so you can get updates about when I post new content. I hope to have these videos out every Friday around 4 p.m. UK, so make sure you check your YouTube page around then if you are really looking forward to these new videos. But with that said, let's get into some of our objectives for Season 2. Our primary objective for Season 2 will be to finish mid-table in the Bundesliga and push for a Europa League spot. There are a few different ways to go about doing so, the main ones being finishing 5th or 6th in the Bundesliga or winning the Deutscher Pokal, both of which will be very difficult to do considering how many good teams there are now in the Bundesliga. It's definitely a step up from Bundesliga 2 in terms of the quality of opposition. And in order to win the Deutsche Pokal, we would need to have a little bit of luck go our way with our fixtures and a couple of good showings because we will need to beat some very good opponents. Of course, we'll also need to follow our transfer regulations of playing 2 or more of our Youth Academy players in at least 8 matches across all competitions. 8 of our starting 11 players need to be either German or have played in the Bundesliga system at some point in their career, and for every under 22 player that we bring in on a transfer, we need to sign an over 30 player. Also, if you guys are getting involved with this challenge in your own saves, feel free to let me know how you're getting on over on social media. You can tweet me at Flickiify or send me a DM on Instagram, also at Flickiify. And be sure to tag Kurmo Squads in your messages as well. He is the creator of this challenge, and I can't thank him enough for letting me do this concept on YouTube. But I think that's all the logistics out of the way. Leave a like if you enjoy the video, and let's crack on with Season 2 of the FC Köln Career Mode Challenge. This is what our squad looks like going into Season 2, and while we had no trouble in the second Bundesliga, I think this team will struggle to finish mid-table in the Bundesliga unless we make some improvements. And the 2 areas that I really would like to improve upon are our center back and center defensive mid positions. They're the 2 lowest rated positions, and when it comes to simulations, overall rating is the key factor. So while I rate Sorensen and Özcan as 2 great players that could still play a role in this team, we will need to find higher overall players if we want to compete in the Bundesliga. In regards to our in-game objectives, we still have our long-term youth development objective of featuring at least 1 Youth Academy player in 50% or more of matches in this second season. And to be honest, this is not a high priority for me or even a medium priority. I'm going to focus on finishing mid-table in the Bundesliga, and right now we don't have any quality Youth Academy players that I could feature in at least half the matches. We also have 2 new brand exposure objectives, and these are critical priority for us. We need to gain 58 million in earnings from shirt sales within a season, and we also need to earn 197.2 million through media earnings within 3 seasons. For our financial objective, this is a high priority. Within 2 seasons, we need to increase the club worth by at least 30%. Our domestic success is a low priority for the board, but we do need to finish mid-table and reach the round of 16 of the Deutscher Pokal. No changes to last season for our continental success. We don't have Europa League or Champions League to worry about quite yet. We've seen a considerable increase to our transfer budget, roughly 40 million to work with, and a good chunk of that split into our earnings. That doesn't even factor in any of the players that I've transfer listed, so by the time these players sell, we could have upwards of 50 million to spend on new players. Of course, our Youth Academy is still an important priority to us, so before we do anything else, we're going to disperse all 3 of our 5-star Youth Academy scouts. 1 will be searching for a winger in England, 1 looking for a physically strong player in Germany, and our final 1 looking for a winger in the United States. We've hit the jackpot when it comes to our preseason tournament invitation. The European International Cup offers 8.47 million in potential prize money. And looking at the quality of opposition, I think we can reach the final in back-to-back years. Our group includes Celta Vigo, Girona, and Ajax, while Group B consists of Feyenoord, Saint-Etienne, Leicester City, and Marseille. And our first piece of transfer business is in the books. Clemens is off to Torino, and we will have 5.5 million added to our transfer budget. Tirota was our second leading goal scorer in Season 1 behind Modeste, but we've decided to part ways with him because his overall is only going to continue declining. He's off to Braga for 9.4 million, 7 million of which has been added to our transfer budget. And we've comfortably topped our group with 9 points, winning each of our group stage matches 2-0. Group B we'll see Saint-Etienne and Leicester City go through. Unfortunately, we've already suffered a long-term injury for this save. Our starting left center back, Sorensen, will be out for 4 months. The transfer deals keep on coming in as we look to offload any players that didn't really feature for us in Season 1. Bader is one of those players, and we've had 1 million added to our transfer budget. With the number of players that have left the club, it's about time that we brought a player in. Evan Ndika will be our first transfer target for Season 2. I think the opportunity to sign such a high potential player from a relegated side is something we can't pass up on and will go a long way in helping us achieve our long-term objectives. In real life, Ndika made a considerable impact in his first season for Frankfurt, featuring in a total of 36 matches across the Bundesliga and the Europa League. He also won the award for Bundesliga Rookie of the Month in February 2019. This was honestly a decent bit of business considering the potential Ndika does have. The transfer fee was 20 million, and this will be a 5-year deal worth 15,000 a week and an important first team player role. I want our players to be happy, whether that means staying with our team or transferring them out so that they can receive play time. That was the case for Bartels. He's never going to feature for this Köln side, so we may as well transfer him and receive 70,000 to our transfer budget. We've just made 2 big money transfers as Drexler is off to Wolves for 7.6 million, and Sobiech has been sold to one of our Bundesliga rivals in Borussia Mönchengladbach, but I was okay with this because I don't see him being a starting center back for them. To offset the signing of Ndika, we needed to bring in an over 30 player, and there were a few candidates I had in mind, the first of which was Sami Khedira. Not only does he hold German citizenship, but he also spent a number of seasons in the Bundesliga with VfB Stuttgart. Unfortunately, this transfer didn't work out due to his absurdly high transfer fee of 29.2 million and a weekly wage fee of 110,000. Benedikt Hövedes was my next transfer target, and I was really excited about this deal. Similar to Khedira, Hövedes is also a veteran of the Bundesliga, having spent roughly 10 seasons with Schalke 04. This transfer didn't work out because Moscow apparently didn't have enough squad depth at the center back position, and they wouldn't even consider a player swap deal, which makes absolutely no sense. Ultimately, I settled on Luis Gustavo as the over 30 player to pursue, an extremely versatile player that is fully capable of playing both CDM and center back for us. I think this was a fair compromise between Khedira and Hövedes. This transfer also made a lot of sense in that we didn't need to sacrifice one of our 3 wildcard spots, as Gustavo featured in the Bundesliga for Hoffenheim, Bayern München, and Wolfsburg before making the move to Marseille. The financials of this deal were not bad either, as it only cost us 14 million for the transfer fee. It was a 1-year deal worth 50,000 a week and a crucial first team player role. With the additions of Ndika and Luis Gustavo, we now have a very balanced side, and the lower rated players in the squad, like Arp at 75, should improve over the course of the season through player training. Our next transfer offer is a very interesting one because whenever you receive a bid from a club like Arsenal, you at least need to consider it. And for the center attacking mid position, Schaub is our current starter, but we also have a capable alternative in Hauptmann, who's younger but also lower rated. Ultimately, I delegated this one to my assistant manager, hoping that we could get a bit more cash than Arsenal's original offer. I hate to leave you guys on a transfer cliffhanger, but we do have our first Bundesliga fixture against Hannover 96, and they are a good first opponent for us because they're not the highest rated team in the Bundesliga, so we will hopefully start off our league campaign with 3 crucial points, and they'll be utilizing a 3-4-1-2 formation, one that matches up very well against our 3-5-2. It's nice to see a little bit of diversity for the formations, not your traditional 4-4-2s. As for us, we're pretty much utilizing the same formation that I just showcased, horn between the sticks, a back line of Ndika, Dante, and Mere, a midfield consisting of Luis Gustavo, Koziello, Hector, Schaub, and Kynes, and then Arp and Modeste up top. Our first match highlight comes off of this throw-in as we showcase some good passing play in the midfield. The final through ball played through to Modeste, who puts it away, and he looks to be continuing his goal-scoring form from last season, and we'll see how much longer Modeste can be one of our 2 starting strikers. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like having a younger striker in Arp alongside an older, experienced striker in Modeste, and as long as he's scoring goals, I'll keep on featuring Modeste. There though, Arp forces a red card, and we're now against 10 men. Despite being down a man, Hannover were relentless in their attack as they string together some nice dribbling with a few good passes, but Timo Horn pulls off a world-class save there, stretching out his left leg and knocking it over the crossbar. And there's a reason He is continuing to see his market value go up and up every season. There, Hauptmann does hit the post, and I decided to feature him in this second half because he very well could be our new starting center attacking mid. But some patient play here as we just look for the opening. Arp dragging it back inside, finding Hauptmann across the box, and this time he will finish as he finesses it into the back of the net. But Hannover get a chance here to cut the deficit in half. They do make it 2-1 in the 74th minute. But here's some nice pressure from Arp, playing it through to Özcan. Just has to finish, but he puts it wide. We're pretty much trying to see out the clock at this point, but I figured why not get the ball to Manu and showcase a few skill moves. And he does get fouled inside the box. Of course, we're going to let our penalty kick taker, Modeste, step up to this one. He'll put it off to the left, keeper rooted to the spot, and we'll get a comfortable 3-1 win in our match day 1 fixture. Stats-wise, we definitely deserve this victory as we generated 15 shots, 7 of which on target, which we could improve upon, but also hanging on to 57% of the possession. In terms of player ratings, it's Modeste and Arp who share a 9.4 rating, but Modeste is given man of the match. Here is the official confirmation. Schaub is on his way to Arsenal for 17 million. And if I'm being frank with you guys, this is a transfer I would take back. I sort of just invested in the deal once I saw Arsenal was coming in for Schaub, and I thought they would fork over so much cash, but 17 million isn't all that much higher than his market value, and I think it's because he didn't feature as much over Podolski in the first season. Otherwise, we could have gotten a lot more for him if we maybe started him in more Bundesliga matches and then sold him in the January transfer window, but you live and you learn, and immediately after that news comes in, no surprise, Niklas Hauptmann wants to be a replacement for Schaub, and we're going to put him at that starting center attacking mid-roll. With all the movements we've made in transfers, we've seen a few adjustments to our player training. Still 2 sets, one of which going to Ndika, Mere, Koziello, Özcan, and Arp. The other set will be going towards Horn, Katterbach, Nartai, Hauptmann, and Manu. We still have a few more transfer listed players, and this deal for Schmitz didn't go through before the end of the summer transfer window, but once the January transfer window does open, he'll be departing the club and we'll have 4.1 million added to our transfer budget. Our first Bundesliga derby will be against Borussia Mönchengladbach on match day 4. They're a tough side that are definitely capable of finishing top 4 in the Bundesliga this season, but I have a lot of confidence in our team. I think we can deliver a good result here, and I'm hoping Hauptmann can deliver a good performance, considering I'm showing a lot of confidence by selling Schaub and starting him instead. But you have to have faith in your players, and hopefully Hauptmann can deliver some goals and assists for us this season. Here is the Mönchengladbach starting 11. Probably the strongest aspect of their team is their defense. They do have Sommer between the sticks, who is one of the highest rated goalkeepers in the Bundesliga, and they also have a strong attack. The first match highlight goes our way as Koziello plays this ball out wide to Kynes, who finds Koziello running into the box, passing this one inside to Hauptmann, who delivers a great ball to Modeste, drags it back, and our French striker, who once again proves to be one of the most clinical goal scorers in the league, puts us up 1-0. But an unfortunate series of events as a pass is intercepted. Hauptmann runs this one inside the box, and I'm not sure about this goalkeeping from Horn. This will happen a couple of times this season where Horn's beaten on the near post, and while he's a really high-rated keeper and one that makes some crucial saves like the one in the first match of the season, he does make a few blunders here and there, and the near post is definitely one of his weaknesses. But we try to equalize here, but that shot somehow goes wide, and we are still down 2-1. And now Stindl will play another pass inside, takes a few deflections, eventually falls to Stindl once again, and just some sloppy play on my half. Finally, Stindl gets his goal. It's probably deserved, and Mönchengladbach take the lead 3-1. We try to get something going late as this is a clear-cut chance for Horn, our substitute left back, but unfortunately his finishing is very poor and he's unable to put that chance away. The match does end at 3-1. You can tell from the stats we maybe should have deserved a better result, but it's a learning chance for us that we need to improve upon our finishing. We somehow still end up with man of the match though, Modeste pulling off an 8.8 rating. Due to his lack of play time, Shikus wanted a move out of the club, so he will be departing as soon as the transfer window opens once again in January, and we'll have 3 million added to our transfer budget. It's time for another Bundesliga derby, this one on match day 10 against Bayer Leverkusen. And if I remember correctly, Fiete Arp was unable to feature in this match due to an injury he was recovering from, so we'll see a different striker for us at the left striker position. It will be Cordoba, who needs to work on his finishing, but I like his play style and his high work rates. We also have Girassi there available on the bench. Similar to Gladbach, Leverkusen will rock a 4-3-3 formation in this one, and they of course do have some standout players in their starting 11. Probably the standout player, Kai Havertz, at that left center mid position, and he may even be a potential target for us later down the road in this Kurva. What a signing that would be. Well, I spoke about it earlier, but it appears that Hauptmann has made good on my showing of confidence in him as he bursts by the Leverkusen defense and beats the goalkeeper on his far post. A nice finish there as we go up 1-0 in the 17th minute, but it did not last too long as, of course, Leverkusen have the main man, Kai Havertz, a beautiful strike from him, and just a small showing of what he can do for them as he gets through our back line once again, plays a through ball. This time it'll be Bellarabi, whose shot is deflected, but Çalhanoğlu picks up the rebound and puts them ahead 2-1. Moving on to the second half, we'll play this ball out wide to Kynes, who finds Koziello in the middle, who then plays the through ball to Modest, spotting out a few runners on the far post, able to connect with Cordoba, but unfortunately the finishing does come into play and he's unable to put that chance away. Luckily though, that's a beautiful pass from Hector to spot out the run from Cordoba, just glides it by the keeper and puts us level. This match certainly didn't lack highlights as a corner is sent in, nodded on, and somehow Horn is beaten on his near post there. I'm not going to elaborate on that because we know that's a weak point for Horn and there's no reason to discuss it further, but luckily we have Podolski on the bench, comes on as a super sub, and he manages to equalize there in the 67th minute. We will try to push on though and look for the late winner as we get an opportunity in the 84th. Some good passing play, and we do spot out the run from Hector. That's a great save though. No discredit to Hector, he put it where he needed to. It's just a good save from the keeper. However, the Leverkusen keeper unable to get to that one despite missing his first chance of the match. Cordoba gets two crucial goals for us, and we'll walk out of here with 3 points despite having a lot less shots than Leverkusen. They absolutely hammered Horn and put 3 goals by him, but to be fair, our attack came to play today. Cordoba picking up man of the match with a 9.4 rating. While he did see some very solid growth in the first season, Thomas Ostrak unfortunately won't reach a high enough rating for me to feature him in this Köln side, so we decided to part ways and he will be leaving the club at the start of the January transfer window. We've had $650,000 added to our transfer budget. And it's pretty much the same situation for a few of our youth academy players that we scouted in the first season. I just don't see me utilizing them in this Köln side. In order for me to feature a youth academy player, they either have to have some insane potential or have something like 5-star skill moves, 5-star weak foot, someone that's actually usable in game. I just don't think that'll be the case for Becker, Haza, and Myers. So we'll be letting them find their career path at a different club, and we've had a little bit extra added to our transfer budget. There are a few over 23 players that have less than a year remaining on their contract, and I will be re-signing Luis Gustavo and Lucas Podolski. Dante, I'm going to let his contract expire because he started to decline very heavily throughout this second season, and it's fair, he's getting up there in age, but we have a few different center back options now, so I think the best option is just to let Dante's contract expire or let another club approach him for a pre-contract deal. I'm never going to miss the chance to play at Signal Iduna Park, so that is where we will travel on match day 16 as we battle it out against Borussia Dortmund. They have made some very big money moves in this career mode, bringing in a new left back and a new left center defensive mid. Still keeping some high-profile players in the squad like Marco Reus, but an interesting choice at the striker position and choosing not to start Alcacer or Philip. We haven't made any changes to our starting 11 quite yet because we haven't reached the January transfer window, but Arp has recovered from his injury, so he'll be back at that left striker spot. And now that Hauptmann has scored a few goals, maybe he can net a few assists for us. We'll begin the match highlights with some nice 1 and 2 touch passing, just working it from side to side. You guys know that's how I like to play this 3-5-2 formation, but what a through ball from Hector to find Arp. He's going to strike that on his strong foot, and options to go near post on the keeper, giving us an early 1-0 lead 8 minutes in. But Dortmund, you knew they were going to score a few goals in this one, and this one coming off of a corner kick. It's their new signing, Pereira, at the left center defensive mid position, moving up on those corners and providing a strong aerial presence. Now it's Marco Reus through 1-on-1 with the keeper. I was trying to defend the far post. He just went ahead and went near post on Horn. Maybe he was watching some of the match highlights from previous fixtures to know that's a weak area. But luckily, we're going to score a long shot goal of our own through Jonas Hector. Green times a power shot, and that just had a super interesting trajectory on it. You'll see from the instant replay, it dipped down just under the crossbar and into the back of the net. You can tell Dortmund were hungry for more goals because they applied a serious press on our back line. As soon as we collected the ball, they would swarm us and press after possession loss. We could just not get the ball cleared, and that unfortunately led to Larson getting a shot on goal and getting it by Horn, giving Dortmund a 3-2 lead. And I thought the match was pretty much over there. We couldn't beat their press, but somehow we found it through to Cordoba. He showcases his strength, holds off the defender, puts it by Roman Bürki, and we equalize in the 87th minute, ending this match at a 3-3 draw. I think this is another case where we probably should have walked out with 0 points, but we walk away with 1. I'll absolutely take it. And a couple of good performances from some of our players, like Koziello at the center defensive mid position, picking up a 9.3. One day prior to the January transfer window opening, we have sold off another player. This one will be a deal to Sunderland for, I believe it's our left back, Tim Handwerker. He was on loan in the first season, so I never really got a chance to try him out, but we have added a good amount of funds for him. Sticking with the theme of signing youth academy players, I'll be adding 3 more prospects to our team in the second season, and I plan on doing that in future seasons as well, because I know you guys like seeing these youth academy players pop up. The first prospect we will be signing is Brian White from the United States, 16-year-old right winger, 5'8", right-footed, an overall of 65, potential of 90 to 94, and a value of 1.4 million. White does have the potential to be special, so we want to make sure that we do train him occasionally, but also let his stats progress naturally, because we don't want to ruin anything, and make sure that he's actually usable in game, because his skill moves and weak foot are decent. At 3-star, yes, I would have liked something like 4-star, but definitely someone that I can use in game as a super sub. Already has some good physical stats. We just need to work on those technicals. Dominic Lee will be our next player to sign, a 17-year-old right winger from England, 5'8", right-footed, 62 overall, potential of 87 to 94, and a value of 775,000. Just like White, Lee does have the potential to be special, so we'll see how he pans out and whether he can reach the upper end of his potential. He does have 4-star skill moves and a 2-star weak foot set, which isn't bad. I'm thinking about actually playing him on the left, so that way he can cut inside on his right foot and maybe finesse a few shots into the upper right-hand corner on his strong foot. Stats are pretty similar to White, maybe just a bit worse. Nathan Brown's our final player to promote, another player from the United States. The 16-year-old is a center forward, 5'9", right-footed, an overall of 60 with the potential of 84 to 94 and a value of 600,000. Just like his other academy graduates, Brown does have the potential to be special, and I was excited about this guy because he's a center forward / striker, but then I saw the 1-star skill moves, and that completely ruined any excitement I had. He is going to be unusable in game. Most players have at least a 2-star skill move set. Not for this guy, and it's a shame because he has otherwise very good stats. Overall though, I can't complain about the prospects we found. Worst case scenario, we can loan them out or even transfer them like we did from the players from season 1. We will search for a few new players though, as we look for only wingers this time from France, Germany, and Belgium. We'll take a look at the Bundesliga table at the halfway point, and I was shocked about a few things. First off, we're sitting 3rd, which is much higher than I expected, but as you can see, no Dortmund and no Bayern in the top 8. That was probably more shocking to me. I don't know what they were doing in the first half of the season, but clearly they were not getting results. If we scroll a little bit further, you can see Bayern sit 10th and Dortmund sit 11th. I wouldn't count this season as a lost cause though for them, because the points gap between first and mid-table isn't huge. So if they can have a better second half of the season, they can even qualify in a top 4 position and challenge for a league title. But still, whenever you don't see Bayern and Dortmund in the top 4, you know something's up. A huge reason why we're doing well in the Bundesliga this season is because of Modest. He has been an absolute boss on simulations, just like in our first season. 13 goals through 17 matches. We'll take it. Really no players standing out in the assist category for the first half of the season. It's still anyone's game, but we do have a few players in the top 15. Houtman in 3rd with 5 assists. We have Kynes in 8th, Hector in 12th, and Koziello in 14th, all with 3 assists. For the clean sheets category, a respectable outing from Horn sitting in 6th. Now that we have some transfer funds to work with, I'm going to start bringing in players that are 23 or older so that we don't need to sign any more over 30 players that will immediately start declining in their value. These transfers will be more expensive, but the impact these players will have on our squad should be more immediate. Our first transfer target for the January transfer window will be Ruslan Malinowski. The Henk midfielder has been itching for a move to a more competitive league, and while in real life he'll be taking his talents to Atalanta and Serie A, I think the Bundesliga will be more than enough competition to meet his expectations. I like this transfer because Malinowski is not from a top 5 league, and he encompasses the box-to-box playstyle that I look for in a midfielder. While his default position is the number 8, he'll play as more of a CDM for us that pushes up into the attack. This is our most expensive transfer thus far with a fee of $33 million, a 3-year deal worth $30,000 a week, and a crucial first-team player role. In order to clear up space in the center midfield and to clear up some funds, we've decided to part ways with Marco Höge for $6.8 million, $5 million of which has been added to our transfer budget. What better way to test out the quality of a new signing than to match up against who many would argue are the top team in the Bundesliga, although the league standings don't represent that as of right now. They have been busy in the transfer market, signing a new right center mid in Milinkovic-Savic, and also replacing Ribery with Memphis Depay. Some good transfers there, and honestly, I have no idea why they are sitting 10th in the league with that sort of team, but it will be an exciting starting 11 for us as we see our standard back line. But there you can see in the center defensive mid position, or the left center defensive mid position, we have Malinowski, who will try to push up and maybe score a long shot or two in this Bundesliga season. When it comes to gameplay, Bayern have a very intricate passing style, and you have to respect that as an opponent. Try not to give them any free opportunities. This is sort of a free opportunity, although to be fair, Milinkovic-Savic made a brilliant run to even get that chance, and it was impossible to track. They do get the first goal there in the 20th minute, and we have to skip all the way ahead to the second half to see the next series. Manu forces a penalty, and David Alaba has to be distraught about that. Modest had the utmost confidence to step up and beat Manuel Neuer to equalize things. And again, here, it's a really unfortunate goal. I felt like we defended it pretty well, but Iron Robin on his right foot will put Bayern ahead once again. And now Kingsley Coman played through. He's going to strike it and make it 3-1 for Bayern. At this point, hope was pretty much lost. But of course, you always have to push on and see what happens. Luckily, we get a set piece just outside the 18-yard box, and Fiete Arp scores probably what won't be the best goal in his career, but will absolutely take that to cut the deficit in half. And now it's Manu showcasing his skills and his pace. He's already drawn a penalty. This time, he will spin inside, a couple of layoff passes, and it's Lukas Podolski, the super sub, strikes again and gets the equalizer for us in the 88th minute, scoring against his former club in FC Bayern. And this is probably the 3rd or 4th match this season where we walk away with points where we probably shouldn't have. Art picks up man of the match with a 9.2 rating, but I was ecstatic after this match. Riding off the wave of excitement from that Bayern fixture, I was ready to make another transfer, and to pair up with Malinowski, I thought it would be a good idea to bring in another former Yank player and longtime career mode favorite, Moses Simon. I feel like Simon's stats speak for themselves, but one thing that I want to emphasize is how versatile this player can be. We'll be featuring him in his natural winger position to start, but he could easily slot right into a more central role for us, for example, as center attacking mid or striker. This transfer does fill up 2 of our 3 non-German/Bundesliga starting 11 players, so from here on out, we need to be very mindful of the club history for the future signings we make. Simon's transfer fee was set at $23.5 million. This is a 3-year deal worth $30,000 a week and an important first-team player role. With those final signings for Season 2, our squad continues to improve. especially if you compare it to the start of the season. Arp's already gone up +2 ratings to a 77. Now Hauptmann is the weak link at 76 overall, but he's young and he'll continue to grow. I'm very optimistic about this Köln side. Although I want to feature enough highlights to give you an idea of how this Köln team plays in game, I don't want to bore you, so I decided to simulate a few rounds of the Deutscher Pokal. We won our round 2 fixture 3-0 against St. Pauli, and we won our round 3 fixture against Paderborn 2-1. We were matched up against Augsburg for this quarterfinal fixture. I will take this draw because they are sitting in the relegation zone of the Bundesliga, so I think considering the other teams that are left, this is a very good opponent for us and a good opportunity for us to reach the semi-final. We will be showcasing a rotated side. I like to experiment with some different players for the cup. Even though it doesn't give us the best chance of winning, I still think it's fun to utilize players that you wouldn't normally start, and it gives you a chance to potentially find some hidden gems in your own career mode save and get to know your players a little bit better. I don't know if Augsburg took the same approach. I do recognize some of their players in the starting 11, so I think they are gunning to finish in a good cup position this year, considering how poor they're doing in the league, but they will be utilizing a 4-2-3-1 formation. I'm just going to go out and say it right off the bat. You may as well call these highlights the Kind Show, because he absolutely put on a show against Augsburg, scoring goal after goal. The first one was a peach of a finesse shot by the keeper. And ever since we moved Kynes to a substitute player for us, or someone that doesn't feature as often, and now we can allow him to play in a central role, I think he has excelled. We were using him as a right midfielder in Season 1, the start of Season 2, but now that we brought in Simon, we can play Kynes wherever. I mean, if Simon's tired, yeah, we can definitely still play him in his right mid position. He's completely comfortable there, but look what he's doing in a central role. He's just getting through on goal, and he's finishing every single chance he gets. That was my favorite goal of the bunch, just because he kind of took that on the volley, or he first timed it. But just like that, we were up 3-0, 30 minutes in. It's a first half hat trick for Florian Kynes, and you love to see it in the Deutscher Pokal. Kynes wasn't the only one scoring goals, though, as we get some nice build-up play here in the midfield. It falls to Girassi, takes a fake shot to create some space, and he rockets that one on the near post. It's nice to see him get on the score sheet, because unfortunately he doesn't get too many appearances for us, considering the number of quality strikers we have on the team. Our other striker, Cordoba, nets us the 5th goal of the match in the 80th minute. I was ready to walk out of here with a 5-0 result, a clean sheet for Bader, and I was hyped about that, but unfortunately a deflection happens, and there's nothing our goalkeeper can do. We do concede there, making it 5-1, but that won't make a difference for the result. We push on through to the semi-final, and we're looking to go all the way this season in the Deutscher Pokal. Looking at the player ratings, tons of standout performances, but we see a perfect 10 out of 10 rating for Kynes. Unfortunately, Luis Gustavo suffered a broken collarbone, and he was out for 8 weeks in February. And as a result, I decided to give Horn a chance at that left center back position. I didn't feature him in too many gameplay matches this season, but for a lot of these simulated fixtures, I did put him in as our starting left center back, and that is kind of a future plan I have for him. I'm not sure whether he's going to play a left mid or left center back, but regardless, I want to make sure he gets enough match appearances that he stays happy for his morale, and of course, we are putting him through player training so he can develop as a defender. Of course, it had to be RB Leipzig who we knock out in the semi-final of the Deutscher Pokal if we want to make it through to the final, and I started to take the competition very seriously at this point. Considering we were dropping in the league a little bit, I wanted to automatically qualify for Europe by way of the Deutscher Pokal. Whatever club wins it automatically qualifies for the Europa League, and I want to showcase some European matches for you guys next season. So while I was still rotating the squad around so that some of our players could get match time, I did include a couple of more high-profile players in our starting 11, because we know from past experience, this RB Leipzig team is very strong, and they will make you pay if you make mistakes out of the back. We still have Bader there between the sticks, but our back line is very capable with Mere, Dante, and Luis Gustavo. The rest of the team needs to step up and score some goals. We've come a long way since Season 1 of this career mode. Being promoted to the Bundesliga and battling against some of the best teams in Germany has given us some great experience, and it's allowed our players to develop. Remember when Manu couldn't score a sitter of of a goal to save his life. Well, now he's scoring long shots against RB Leipzig in the semifinal of the Deutsche Pokal. What a goal that was, and what a way to start the match. As soon as you take the lead against the ultimate difficulty AI, that changes how they play completely. It opens them up to counterattacks, and opportunities were falling our way. We were bombarding them with chances, and now we'll move forward to the second half. The wings have opened up, and as soon as we saw the player go out wide, we saw Kynes make the run through the center. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut inside on his left foot and curl it around the keeper, giving us a 2-0 lead, and at this point, we just needed to hang on. 78th minute, this is a very interesting chance. It looked like Brumo was doing a fake shot, but he ended up crossing it into Poulsen, who finishes and cuts the deficit in half. But here on a corner kick, we're going to score a headed goal, making it 3-1 and pretty much sealing the deal for us. Of course, Leipzig were still pulling forward players, trying to somehow get back into this, but that's a poor touch from one of their defenders. We take it away with Girassi, and now it's Cordoba, utilizing some of his pace and taking some heavy touches, but it opens up the middle. It's Girassi who started the counter, and he will be finishing the counter, getting our 4th goal of the match and finishing this fixture with a 4-1 result. I was not expecting that going into the match, but hey, looking at the stats, we were just clinical with our chances. 7 shots, 5 on target, 46% of the possession. In terms of man of the match, it's Kynes stepping up again with a 9.4 rating. I know I'm featuring a lot of consecutive Pokal matches, but I wanted to build that sort of storyline for the second episode. It seemed like we were meant to be in the final for this 1920 season, and I wouldn't want it any other way for us to match up against a team that defeated us earlier in the season and lift the trophy over one of our rivals in Borussia Mönchengladbach. They do, of course, have the same starting 11 they rocked out with earlier. Star players are still in there, and they will be very difficult to beat. But one thing to consider is that we know how they play with this 4-3-3. We need to make sure that they stay narrow and don't give them options to cross it on the wings. We, of course, will be staying true to our 3-5-2 formation. There's no reason for us to change it at this point. It's what we're comfortable with, and if we're going to win this fixture, we're going to win it right, and we're going to win it our way. And it's a nice mixture of experienced starting 11 players in the squad and some rotated players like Nartai and Özkan, who could very well be starters in the future of this career mode save. From a neutral's perspective, this is a pretty fun match to watch, and hopefully it'll be a entertaining fixture for you guys to witness. But Mönchengladbach do open up the scoring in the 9th minute through Neuhaus, who is actually a player I've been scouting out. He seems like a very good center midfielder. He's German, plays in the Bundesliga, so he would be a good target in this career mode. But Fiete Arp pulls off a couple of drag backs, and Green times a finesse shot, getting it by Sommer in the 17th minute. It's been amazing to see how much Arp has grown since the start of this career mode when we originally signed him, and I think he's only going to continue to grow. But it seemed like as soon as one team scored, the other would march right back. This was a obscure bit of build-up play. I think it was Plie who did like a diving header to knock it to one of their players, and somehow they managed to score from that. But this is a scrappy goal. Modeste ends up getting it though, and that kind of sums up his play style. He just finds ways to score goals. He might not be the flashiest player, but he gets it done. As soon as stamina started to play a role in this match and players began getting tired, Manu used his pace to his advantage and sent it across here from the right wing. It's cleared away, but it's Özcan who's lurking outside the box, goes with a strike on his left foot, and that one hits the post. Had that gone in, I don't know what I would have done. But here in the 72nd minute, again, we're just working it from side to side. It's Nartai who spots out Manu, and this time he's going to go with a simple finish across the keeper, giving us the 3-2 advantage. And from here, we just had to hold on. I wasn't trying to take many risks here as we saw out the closing minutes of the match. Wanted to hang on to possession, but if the opening presented itself, I was going to take it, and it is Cordoba who scores the 4th goal for us, and at this point, there's no coming back. 4 minutes left. We are going to be crowned champions of the Pokal, and it's been an incredible ride for us this season. We've taken down some big opponents, and we fully deserve this victory. We nearly get another goal here through White. Had to hit it on the volley. Why not at this point? But I'll leave you guys with the celebration here at the end so you can witness and hear some of the endgame audio. With our Bundesliga and Pokal campaign complete, it's time to assess how we did for our career mode challenge objectives. We had to reach an average overall rating of 81 or higher for our starting 11 and an average overall age of under 25 for our starting 11. For rating, we fell a few short. We needed to reach a cumulative total of 891. We hit 883, so 8 ratings lower than what we wanted for 81 plus. But for age, we needed 275 for the cumulative years. We reached 274, so we were 1 year younger than we needed to be. With that said, this is a 2+ season challenge, so if you guys are interested, I'm certainly open to exploring the possibility of doing a 3rd season with Köln to see if we can hit that rating objective while maintaining our age objective. In terms of Season 3 transfers, I am going to mention a few players that I think we need to improve upon in the squad. The first being Anthony Modeste. Don't get me wrong, he has been incredible for us in these first 2 seasons, but he is not helping us reach our age and overall objective. We just need to bring in a younger, higher overall striker. In the meantime, we do have Cordoba, who I really do like as a striker, but he is only 77 rated, still fairly young. Maybe we could put him through some finishing training, because if we look at a side-by-side comparison in his stats, they're very similar to Modeste, and there's not that many strikers that can boast those sort of qualities, so it would be nice to keep a Köln player in our starting 11 for the striker spot, but we'll see what happens. I'm definitely open to whatever transfers you guys think I should make in Season 3. I'm pretty much going to look through all of your comments and then figure out which positions we need to improve the most, and then finally kind of find like a middle ground between your guys' comments and what I'm thinking about improving. Jonas Hector is another player that we need to replace in our starting 11. Similar to Modeste, he's just getting up there in age and he's not going to increase in his rating anymore. We do have a potential replacement though in the squad, and that will be Horn, our left back. And it's very difficult to find a replacement for Hector because he has a very specific playstyle. It's hard to find a well-rounded left mid or left back that can play as a box-to-box midfielder for us, and that's also quick. But I think if we were to work on Horn's finishing, that's really the only area that's letting him down, as well as his long passing and crossing. So if we put him through those drills, he could potentially be Hector's replacement. Hauptmann is another question mark in this team. Don't get me wrong, he played pretty well in game, but he doesn't have the best potential, so he's not really helping us in regards to that 81 plus overall rating, and we're going to have a lot of funds coming in next season, so center attacking mid is definitely an area we could improve upon. Milanovsky could potentially move up from center defensive mid to center attacking mid. If we scroll through his stats, he has a lot in the green, and I want him to contribute more goals to the team. He can't really do so from center defensive mid. He's more of a defender in that role, but if he plays center attacking mid, he could score some long shots, and I think he's capable of contributing in double digits. Milanovsky also has the 4-star weak foot, 4-star skill move set, which I always look for in center attacking mids, and high work rates, so he can still help out defensively. In terms of players on the transfer list, I'm probably going to part ways with Geis. He's been complaining about his play time, so I think it's inevitable for him to depart the club. The rest of the players you see on here are all going to be going out on loan. They just want to feature in more matches, and I can't do that for them right now. We'll take a look at the Bundesliga table, and FC Bayern pulled off an incredible comeback. The top 4 were all within 1 point of each other, which you don't see all that often, but some incredible scenes. We've ended up finishing 7th, which is respectable. I don't think it mattered too much for us because we ended up winning the Deutscher Pokal, but regardless, we'll absolutely take that, and that's a lot of momentum we can carry into next season. In terms of relegated sides, it was Union Berlin and Freiburg who finished bottom. For Bundesliga 2, Ingolstadt and Frankfurt were promoted, while Karlsruhe and Erzgebirge were relegated to Bundesliga 3. The promotion playoff final saw Augsburg unfortunately drop out, so they've gone from the Bundesliga to the second Bundesliga, and Nuremberg will be joining us. Of course, we did win the Deutscher Pokal 4-2 against Mönchengladbach in the final. Last year it was an all-Spanish final, but this time around it's PSG that were victorious in the Champions League. With that said, Spanish teams are still going strong. Valencia ended up winning the Europa League. Looking through the league statistics, Modeste stayed at the top, contributing 19 goals scored in 34 matches, an incredible outing from the 32-year-old. We didn't have the best season in terms of assists, none of our players featuring in the top 15, but it's Munir who finished first with 9 assists. And for clean sheets, it was Castells who finished first with 12 clean sheets. Horn dropped down a bit to 10th, but he was still an incredible part of our season and a big reason why we finished where we did. For the team statistics, of course, it was Anthony Modeste who appeared in the most matches for us, 44 across all competitions. Mary and Koziello also featured in over 40 matches. Modeste really put the team on his back in regards to goals, 25 goals scored across all competitions. Our other strikers, Cordoba and Arp, just shy of the 10-point mark. And for assists, Koziello looks like he played pretty well in the European International Cup, which was the preseason tournament, but he only got the 5 assists in the Bundesliga, not enough to finish in the top 15. I'll be honest, player growth fell short of what I was expecting for season 2. I think a few of our players went up +7 or +8 in the first season. +4 was the max that we saw in season 2. But what can you expect? As the players get older, they're not going to grow as quickly, and we are still seeing some very consistent growth across the board. I'm optimistic that we can continue that for season 3. Although our manager rating has consistently stayed in the 90s, we may as well see how we did for our in-game objectives. And for youth development, we gave up halfway through the season. I realized it wasn't worth intentionally sabotaging points in order to just feature these youth academy prospects that are low rated. I was more concerned with how we did in the league, so youth development wasn't a very big priority for me. We were very unlucky not to reach our short-term brand exposure objective, falling just 3% short of the projected 58 million. We still have a good chance at reaching the long-term objective though, and we still have 2 seasons to do that. Financially, we already met our long-term objective of increasing the club's worth by 30%, so no worries there. Domestically, we also did very well, completing our objective of finishing mid-table in the Bundesliga, and of course winning the Deutscher Pokal. I am looking forward to next season though, because I believe we will have a continental objective, something that we haven't had for the first 2 seasons. But guys, that'll bring an end to this episode of the FC Köln Career Mode Challenge. If you are interested in seeing an episode 3, then please do let me know down in the comment section below and leave a like on the video. That's the best ways to indicate your support, and I'm having a lot of fun this save, so I'd like to see it continue, but I want to make sure you guys are interested in it as well. But anyways, thank you again for the support. Hopefully I can make some more content similar to this, even if we decide not to continue with Köln. I'll be doing this again with another team, but again, let me know down in the comment section what you want to see. I'll read over the comments and I'll keep you updated what we decide to do. Until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.